Hey everybody, it's Kenny Cummins here of Chilling with Kenny C. Glad that you could join me for this interview. I'm joined with a very talented wrestler, and I must say she has one of the most fascinating names in all of wrestling. I mean, the name just speaks kick ass, if you know what I mean. Bashley Bones is joining me right now, very elegant with her glasses on. So I'm glad she can join me. How's it going?
It's good, thanks. Yep, we've got to have a break from those contacts. It was a
Yeah,
long weekend.
truly understand. Truly understand. I appreciate you taking this time. And before I get to the questions, I've met you. Well, actually, I've seen you wrestle before.
Oh yeah,
I've
where at?
Jeffersonville, Indiana, girl fight a couple months ago.
Okay. Yeah,
So
so probably not one of my best matches, but glad you made it out.
hey, I'm all for support, and you stood out to me nonetheless. So I'm glad I was able to make the trip and support Matt Pondo and his production and promotion and putting the word out on women's wrestling. And Bashley Bones stood out to me. And I enjoyed the show nonetheless. I had a good time at the end of the day.
That's good. Awesome.
So Miss Bones, take us a trip into your wrestling journey as far as what got you into this thing called professional wrestling.
So I was a fan my whole life, pretty much since I can remember. I grew up with boy cousins and, we watched wrestling. It's what we did. We were fortunate to have parents who took us to large events when they could, they just take all of us, their mom, my mom, who's ever. Um, so in my later years, I actually started playing roller derby. So I did that for like, I think it was about 7 years. I ended up moving out here to Clarksville, Tennessee from California. And I was driving down the road one day and I heard an advertisement about tried and true pro wrestling. And they were looking for bombshell promoter girls. And I was like, well, I love wrestling. They have a promotion. I could do this. So I went ahead and I did like this promoter girl search. And at the time, I was playing for Nashville Roller Derby. So I was about an hour away, playing roller derby, about an hour from where I lived. I ended up being one of the promoter girls, got to know some of the guys, Crimson, who owns the promotion, and they find out I do roller derby. And then they're like, well, we have a wrestling academy. You could do this. And I'm like, I could do this? Really? Never in a million years did I think about it until that moment. So here I am. It's been about 3.5 years, I believe. I kind of did a switch over from roller derby to wrestling. But I carried my name over. That's where Bashley Bones comes from.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, how you feel about the similarities between roller derby and wrestling as far as the physical contact standpoint?
It definitely prepared me to, get I was already so used to contact and playing a contact sport that it definitely prepared me for that. Um, I feel, as far as like injuries go, it's very much the same where you just kind of you don't know what could happen. And somebody once told me in Derby, it's not about when you're going, or it's not about if you're going to be injured. It's basically when and how bad. And wrestling is pretty much the same thing. You know, there's just a lot of room for a little bit of air for things to get crazy. But I was fortunate to make it out of my roller derby career, 7 years with nothing major. So keeping my fingers crossed for the wrestling career. Something else I would say, is similar is spandex and fanny packs. Like there was a lot of that before I got into wrestling. Roller derby was the same. and then fans. Like, it's kind of funny because you could go to a wrestling event or a roller derby event, and the fans are just very similar. Like, they're just a similar group of people.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I seen some roller derbies um on YouTube and on the internet, and how the energy from the crowd and just the adrenaline for the competitors, it definitely does go hand in hand. Who do you think has the more crazier fan base?
Oh,
Crowd.
definitely wrestling. Yeah, it's kind of like you take those roller derby fans and then you times it by like 100, and then you have the wrestling fans. So yeah, I
Yeah,
helped with Starcast all weekend, and Flair's last match, and so that was just a crazy experience, but also just so many people, so many wrestling fans all weekend.
yeah. It was definitely a busy weekend in Nashville, from SummerSlam to Starcast.
Hmm.
And as you pointed out with Flair's last match, it was just I felt like a wrestling mall. Let me put it to you that way. As far
Yeah.
as you could just run into somebody, oh, I know you from somewhere.
Yeah.
And for what I've heard, Flair, in his last match, it was pretty good. It was pretty solid with all things considered. I mean, the man is in his 70s, but he still knows how to walk the crowd.
Yep.
When you got that command for the crowd at a late age like that, you got a gift. You definitely have a gift. It's still there. So it was quite the weekend in Nashville.
Mhm.
Nashville felt like
It was.
Smashville, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
still recovering.
so moving forward, how do you feel as you getting into, you taking your career to new heights, you thinking next goals and championships and just traveling and things of that nature. Um,
Mm,
what's next? What's on the horizon for Bashley Bones?
definitely, I'd like to do a little more traveling, branch out, maybe, do some shows that aren't within driving distance. I've been negotiating a few here and there, but nothing's really just like came through yet. So at this moment, Saturday, I will be in Lafayette, Georgia. I'm with Chattanooga Championship Wrestling Alliance, and I'm pretty excited about this match. It's going to be against Chalance Royal, who I have met previously, but we have never had a match before, so should be a good time. And like I said, I'm bringing my earplugs. I'm going to be ready because I don't know if you know about her, but yeah, she's
Yes.
not going to be screaming into my ears, okay?
Yes. Not only am I familiar with Miss Royal, I've interviewed her before. She's wrestled here in Kentucky for
Awesome.
OVW. She's made some
Yeah,
appearances, and it's one thing that Shalonce is known for, is that you're gonna hear her voice one way or another.
I'm telling
Especially,
you, I'm bringing those earplugs,
yeah,
so
you may want to bring the
I got a
earplugs.
plan. I'm going to be ready.
So
It
that is this coming weekend in Georgia.
is.
Bashley Bones going up against Lance Royale. Go get your tickets. Go to the show. Go support these talents, and and see them put on a show for you, the fan, the consumer. Their job is to entertain you. Cheer who you want to cheer for. Boo who you want to boo. Just at the end of the day, have a good time and enjoy
Right.
yourself. So and to everyone that's gonna see Shalon, say, yeah, you probably may need to bring the earplugs with you, because she wants to think she wrestling and she's trying to audition for American Idol or The Voice or something.
Something. I don't know. Something.
So check that out. Um, Now, as far as, well, let me ask you this. Uh, as you have progressed in your career, who do you consider as influences, those that have inspired you, whether it's those in the indies or whether those on television promotions? Who has inspired Bashley Bones?
Definitely, my coaches. So Jeremiah Plunkett and Thomas Latimer, I always give them a lot of credit. They've really been just, great inspirations and people in my life since I've started this. And as far as ladies go, somebody like I always look up to is like Mickey James. Like I love seeing her around, and she's just such like a nice, humble person, besides being just like an amazing wrestler. Um, you know, there was a lot of wrestlers who inspired me like growing up, but right now those are the people I'm looking up to and inspired by.
I'm definitely familiar with Plunkett. I've seen his work on the indies. He's very talented. Latner, I'm familiar with him for NWA and other
Hmm.
promotions. He's very talented. Um, Mickey James, I mean, that name speaks for itself. Her resume,
Hmm.
what she's been able to do in the business, for Impact, for WWE, for all the promotions, she's done something major, and she's still doing so at this point of his career. It's just
Yeah.
incredible. She's
I
like a
mean,
yeah.
really just, all of the Impact girls, like, Jordan and Deanna Perrazzo, they're just, powerhouses. And that was another match this weekend. The one with those two and Rachel Ellering.
Yes.
It was amazing. It was really great to be able to sit down and watch that.
Yeah. So we know how Bashley Bones get down in the ring. No,
Hmm.
no nonsense. I want to know, how does Bashley Bones, how do you respond as far as a fan, be on the seat? You be getting cheering and booing, like what? How would you describe
Hmm.
yourself on the other side, just on the fans sitting down, whatnot?
I mean, it just depends, really. So it kind of depends where I am and who I'm against if I'm getting cheered or booed. At this point.
Cool, cool. So Bashley, where can people check you out in social media? Where can people find you?
So I have an Instagram. It's Bashley110. I am on Facebook under Bashley Bones. I do have a Twitter, but I don't really use it. So Instagram or Facebook is the best way. I do have, you know, pretty good amount of videos up on YouTube if you want to go watch the matches. I do a weekly TV show here and there, EPW in Mississippi, and they have really great video and they're a great show to watch. And I have all those up on my YouTube. I'll be back there actually August 20th, and then CW30 Memphis the next day on the 21st. So you can look forward to seeing me on TV a couple times this month.
That's awesome. So, with that being said, obviously being at an indie show is one thing, like, just a nice crowd, fans getting into it. What's that feeling like for you when you're doing a televised show? Just getting that extra attention per se.
It's definitely a rush. It's so quick. It's crazy because TV is like 6 minutes, like entrances, like all of it. So it's like you're in, you're out, and you're kind of like, whoa, what just happened afterwards? It's definitely a little bit more nerve-wracking, I think, for myself than being at like a little indie show. But again, like, they give me the microphone and I feel like everything kind of just melts away at that point and I'm not really nervous and I just go with it.
You just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Kind of like you in the roller derby days. Like
Hmm.
whatever happens, happens. Pretty much. So Bashley Bones, I want to say thank you so much for doing this interview with me. It's been a good conversation with you on this particular time, and Hopefully, you'll be back somewhere in that tri-state area. Maybe we'll cross paths again. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for what you do as a performer. And I look forward to seeing more of Bashley Bones moving forward. You definitely got a fan of me since the show in Jeffersonville. And I definitely will keep an eye more on Bashley Bones. So thank you for your
All
time.
right. Well, thank you, and you have a good night.
You too. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is Chillin' Kenny C alongside with Bashley Bones. Check her out this weekend in Georgia. She's going up against Solange Royale. Get your tickets for the show and support independent wrestling. That's Bashley Bones. I'm Kenny Cummins. We're signing off or signing out, whatever phrase you want to use. You all enjoy the rest of your week.